Around startup sequence, this is actually one that comes up a ton, that we hear a lot of pain about from customers, right? And not just customers, but users of the project as well. This whole, hey, Envoy at startup races my container at startup, things were failing. I was literally on a customer call debugging this Friday, right? Somebody it turned out that, they thought they were having database connectivity issues. It turns out, no, it's just that your app immediately starts up and tries to connect the database and it beats Envoy. And so this is a general problem. The real deep solution is platform support for a sidecar uh, uh, in Kubernetes, for example, where it starts it up first and then it starts up the application. And when things tear down, it tears them down in the reverse order. That unfortunately is on hold on the upstream project. It's not being actively developed right now, as far as I know. And so instead, what I would recommend, there's a couple different tools that have been made by a couple different users of Istio. I believe Monzo has one, but the one that I'm more familiar with is from Redbox, which is a tool called Scuttle. And that's there on their GitHub repo. I'll link it as well, but it's Redbox LLC/Scuttle on GitHub. And that's a tool that you can actually use to wrap your application, and it is Istio aware. So what you go and do is, in your Docker file, you take your existing entry point and you prefix it with the Scuttle binary, and of course you include Scuttle in your Docker build. And it pulls the Envoy's readiness endpoint. So Envoy, the sidecar, exposes a readiness endpoint. That Scuttle starts up concurrent with Envoy. It pulls Envoy's readiness endpoint locally, and then only after Envoy is ready does it start up your application. Then on the flip side, when you're running a Kubernetes job and the application closes, shuts down, then Scuttle will shut down the application as well. And so that's an incredibly useful tool for addressing those lifecycle mismatches in the platform. And so I would recommend that one. We have some customers that are using it. There, like I said, though, there's multiple. Monzo has one as well. I can't remember the GitHub repo right offhand. This is something that I'm actually kind of pushing for us to pull into Istio project proper. Basically, I want us to pick one and at least migrate it into the Istio ecosystem repo, but potentially even into the Istio org as kind of our blessed way of doing it until this is solved at the platform layer. That hasn't happened yet, but that kind of tooling is what I would recommend.